Welcome to Awakenings in Real Life, where we tell inspiring stories of transformation, meaning, and hope. While we typically think of an awakening as a getting up or something religious or spiritual in nature, it's also a recognition, realization, or awareness of something. We're going to share stories of people triumphing over loss, illness, addiction, trauma, bullying, near-death experience, and more. Please enjoy. Hi, I'm Dan Cohen, and welcome to Awakenings in Real Life. I'm very honored to have our next guest who's here with me in the studio. His name is Sami Steigmann. How are you, Sami?
I am very good, but at my age, I have a tendency to forget things. And I'm extremely organized. I just found out, to my great surprise, that I have in me the German culture, which I did not know. And all of a sudden, I was looking at the wall, which is okay, because I don't have enough room, so it's like a museum. Okay, and everything is in a perfect shape. So I'm extremely organized. The problem is I don't know where I put things.
Listen, I sometimes forget where I put things, so it's okay. Now, before we got on today, and first of all, thank you for coming down to the studio. It's my honor, because it's something nice talking right in person next to us. So before we got on, Sami said, just introduce me as Sami. But I want to give you a little background. So Sami Steigmann is a Holocaust survivor who lives to tell his story at schools, organization, media outlets, and other places. Sami's life story is remarkable. He was born on December 21st, 1939 in Czernowitz, Bukovina, part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire belonging to Romania. Later, it became a part of the former Soviet Union and today is in Ukraine. From 1941 to 1944, he and his parents were in Ukraine at Mogilev-Podolsky, a labor camp, Transnistria.
In Transnistria.
Being too young to work, as his parents told him, Sami was subjected to Nazi medical experiments, but has no recollection of it. However, he still feels the side effects every day.
Every single second.
Every single second. The camp was liberated by the Red Army, and his family was deported by the Romanians, not the Germans. He grew up in Regan, Transylvania. In 1961, the family emigrated to Israel, and he served in the Israeli Air Force. In 1968, Sami came alone to the U.S., where he married, divorced, and eventually returned to Israel in 1983. In 1988, he returned to the New York City, and he's also a motivational speaker. So what I want to start with, Sami, is that I think it's very important that you talk about a little bit what the Holocaust was, because today, especially among young people, some people don't know what the Holocaust is. There are Holocaust deniers, and you're proof of that the Holocaust exists. So explain to the audience what the Holocaust was.
The Holocaust is a unique moment in history. It will never happen again. A lot of people like to lump together things that are not the same, and they confuse, for instance, genocide with the Holocaust. Genocide is the murder of a group of people. Holocaust, on the other hand, was the annihilation of only one group of people, the Jews, from all over the world. We have to talk about the Holocaust forever and ever, because from my personal experience and perspective, there is no other example as good as the Holocaust. What hate can do not only to a person, but to a group of people, to a nation, and to the world. Holocaust was a systematic
Extermination.
deliberate annihilation of the Jewish people. It was run like a factory. And everything started, and I will go through the stages
Sure.
that people did not react in time and appropriately, and it kept escalating because it did not go from zero to the point of no return, because it kept escalating, and because people did not react in time and appropriately, they said, let's go further, let's go more. So I will go some of the stages.
Sure.
Because it's very important for the young people not only to be knowledgeable how the Holocaust happened, but they have to become active. So knowledge without action and without bringing the media accomplishes very, very little. And one of the things that I like to invoke, one of the people that I admire in the United States is Martin Luther King Jr.
Okay.
He marched nationwide, was able to bring people from other ethnic groups, brought the media, did it without violence, and because of him, many groundbreaking legislations have been established. So, one of the things is that I start with fourth graders because if we don't teach them at a very young age what's happening today, not only in the United States but worldwide, there is no education, there is indoctrination. So by the time they go and they start teaching them a little bit about in 10th grade, very little,
Right.
but by the time they are in high school and then they go to colleges, they are indoctrinated. And once you are indoctrinated, it's almost impossible to bring them back to critical thinking.
What are they indoctrinated in or to?
I'll give an example, how people use words that make you feel good, but are absolutely meaningless.
Okay.
There are 24 states that mandate genocide Holocaust curriculum. Here in New York, it was in 1994. In 31 years, they don't have a standard curriculum.
It was mandated, but there's no curriculum.
No. At the same time, from my experience, it is not enforced. One of my goals right now is to go to Albany to talk to the senators and to enforce the mandate. So the first state that required it, and they have a curriculum, wonderful, approved by the Holocaust Commission, by the U.S. Department of Education, they don't use it. So New Jersey was the first state, and I was the keynote speaker in Pennsylvania, and after that, they were able also in Pennsylvania is the last state that adopted the Holocaust curriculum. However, from my experience, and I spoke, I would say without exaggerating, in a relatively very short time to close to 300,000 people. I met only 3 teachers that teach it for a full year. So some of them only for a semester, but not every single day, maybe once a week or something, and some of them only for a few days. So it's absolutely, you cannot talk about it because the Holocaust encompasses every aspect of life. Like in my case, being subjected to medical experiments, you can talk about medical experiences, social, literature, in every aspect. So Holocaust is part of it.
So it's not mandated in all states.
In any of the states.
So
it's mandated, but not
31.
enforced.
Right.
24.
So you want to see it mandated in all the states, but more importantly, they need to teach it. There needs to be a curriculum. right?
Yes.
Because the mandate without...
No, but before they teach it,
Okay.
it has to be enforced to teach it.
Right.
They have to be enforced because right now it depends on the principal, it depends on the teacher. Okay, what they do, how often, and where. But right now there is, I just participated last week, this week or I think it was this week. So there is right now an attempt, okay, to have a standard curriculum, K-12, from kindergarten, okay, to 12 in schools. So one of the things is that I want to participate in it because my question will be, how are you going to enforce it?
Right. And I want to get into a little later the importance of the education. But since the podcast is, and I want to get into your story too
Right.
when you're in labor camp. But since the podcast is about awakenings in real life, I want to ask you, what was your awakening in real life? I think before we got on, you explained there was two different...
When my parents and I were deported to the labor camp, I was only a year and a half. So obviously I have no memories of that period of time. So for me, it's a blessing in disguise because unlike the older generation, I don't have to relive those horror stories every single day. At the same time, until the Eichmann trial in 1961 in Israel, the survivors did not speak publicly and definitely not to the children. They wanted the children to have a normal childhood. So I did not feel that I belonged to them. I also
Because you didn't remember the experience?
and my parents did not talk about it. The only thing that my father did talk, that we were in a camp, and from his family, from 42 people, only 2 survived. Okay. And interestingly enough, I felt I don't belong to the children of the Holocaust survivors because most of them were born in DP camps, displaced people. They had to be there for 3 to 5 years because there was no country that wanted them. And they lived in difficult conditions. However, the daily threat of being murdered did not exist. And there were 2 events that changed the course of my life.
Okay.
Number
so
one.
let me just. So you didn't feel initially a sense as a survivor because you didn't remember it, right?
And my parents did not talk about it.
And you didn't feel like a child of because you had a different experience.
Yes.
Right? All right. So what are those 2 awakenings that you had that changed everything for you?
Okay. What happened is in November 1st and November 2nd of 2003, the Holocaust Museum in Washington, D.C. closed its door to the general public for 2 days. They did it once a year for 16 years in a row. I never went. Meant to be on November 1st and November 2nd, I decided to go. Since I did not feel that I belonged to both generations, at the table where I was sitting, I met a man born in the same city, been in the same camp, the same years, 1941, 1944. He was deported when he was 8 months old, and I was deported when I was a year and a half. That's the difference between history and living history. By talking to him for the first time at age 63, I felt I belonged to both generations. So I didn't do anything for a while, but in 1990,
I think you said...
7, in 2000...
You think you said you met him in 2006?
In 2003.
Okay.
1996, something else. But in 2007, I decided to do something about it.
So you had a second awakening.
Yes. And then I joined the Holocaust Museum here in New York. And as I started slowly to talk, I was given in 2008, March 11th, my first assignment to speak to sixth graders. I did not feel that I have a compelling story. However, I knew one thing. I know more than they do.
Okay.
And I used, a Nike slogan. Just do it.
Just do it. Okay.
Let's see what happens. Again, meant to be, they sent me thank you letters. Each one better than the other. But one sixth grader changed my life forever. She wrote, P.S. Your story was overwhelming. And I promise I'll pass your story to my children. That moment I realized that I have something important that I must share. And that was the moment, because of that sixth grader, that I decided to dedicate the rest of my life to reach as many young people as I can, nationally and internationally. And by the way, I do not prejudge, I'll talk to anybody. As a matter of fact,
Talking to me.
That's your problem. but interestingly enough, I also spoke at the Church of Scientology.
Oh, that's interesting.
Okay, so I do not prejudge. I will treat you the way you treat me, but I do not prejudge anything. So therefore, I will speak to anybody that wants to learn. But I'm going to stress again. I think it was Isaac Stern. I'm not sure which other famous musician. And he was asked, how do you go to Carnegie Hall? So he said, practice, practice, practice. In combating right now, I don't like the word anti-Semitism, I'll tell you why. But to combat Jew hatred, we can do it only through education, and starting at a very young age before they get indoctrinated. Because once they are indoctrinated, and you can see what's happening not only in the States but worldwide, it's almost impossible to bring them back to critical thinking.
So start early.
Yes.
Because isn't the mandate only for like high school, or is it
There is a mandate, but it's not enforced.
Unenforced. Okay.
So it depends on the principal and depends on the teacher, what they know. There is no standard curriculum. So right now, they are working. They started right now. I think it was the meeting was last week. So the first time they are working on a standard curriculum in every school from kindergarten to 12, and the idea was approved by the New York governor.
So what I think is so interesting about what you just said is you told your story, and one little girl so touched you, right? And you made an impact on her, but probably she made a bigger impact on you, because now you've taken that and you've made an impact on hundreds, thousands, even more through your story. So it tells you that touching one person, right, can lead to some...
Exactly. And that's exactly what I teach the young people, not to be afraid to talk. They have a very powerful voice. And in Germany, Hitler did not want any Jews. His initial goal was not to murder them, just to make them leave. But in Poland, he found 3.3 million Jews. What the hell do you do with them? And that came the idea of exterminating them. So you can see how things are escalating. And then comes June 22nd, 1941. Germany broke their agreement with the former Soviet Union, attacked them, and behind them were the special groups that I mentioned, the Einsatz group, and they were not fighting force just to murder people. That was their only job. And behind them were the Romanian troops. And the Romanian troops annexed an area of the former Soviet Union called Transnistria. And that's why we were deported by the Romanians and not by the Germans. The camp was liberated in 1944, so it became again part of the former Soviet Union. But unlike my mother and I, my father was born in Romania proper. So in 1946, the Romanian government allowed a very small group of Jews from the former Soviet Union to repatriate. My father, being an anti-communist, decided to choose the lesser of two evil and decided to go back to Romania. And now comes the final stage. January 20, 1942. The first time that they started to build the death camps. Until then, in Ukraine, in 1941, they murdered people, but by bullets. So that particular area, until they started to build the death camps, that particular area is called murder by bullets. In Ukraine, they murdered 1.5 million Jews. Okay. So what happened is, in January 20, 1942, 15 high-ranking Nazi criminals in a city which is part of Berlin, Wannsee, decided the final solution to the Jewish question. That's the official name of the Holocaust. And they decided to make a list of all of the European countries, depending which source you look at, between 9.5 and 11 million people, and they decided to exterminate, to annihilate them. Once they were going to accomplish their goal, they were going to open a museum in Prague, and they were going to call it the Museum of the Extinct Jewish Race.
Wow.
Okay? And this is something that at the end of our conversation, I want to make a statement so that people will really understand.
So I want to get back when your time in the labor camp. You had told me that you were saved by
a German woman.
So it's interesting that it was a German woman. Explain,
Right.
Tell that story quickly, and
Right.
what did it mean that it was a German woman, or did it?
Well, what happened is, not far away from the camp, there was a farm owned by Germans. And the German woman brought food to the guards in the SS. So after they finished with the medical experiments, came a stage that I was dying of starvation, and there are physical signs: big head, swollen stomach, swollen feet. And one day when she saw the physical signs that I'm dying of starvation, she had compassion for a toddler, a Jewish one, and at the risk of her entire family, she decided to give me milk, possibly more, but I was not smart enough to ask my father, so I don't know anymore, so I don't want to embellish. I do not know the name of the person that saved my life, but in 2014 I was in Yad Vashem in Israel to give testimony, and interestingly enough, next to the museum, there is a garden honoring 27,000 people, non-Jews, that saved Jewish people. And I saw a marker honoring the unknown righteous among the nations. That made me very happy, because indirectly, the woman that saved my life has been honored.
There are a lot of people, and we don't know all their stories, at a risk to their own life, non-Jewish people.
Their families' lives.
Their families' lives.
Because it's easy to make a decision, relatively easy, when it's only your life at stake. But when you have to think about the whole family,
You're right. Yeah.
okay, there were a lot of people that did it, but not enough to stop the criminals. Okay.
So I want you to go briefly what happened after the war. You ended up in Israel and part of the Israel.
No, in Romania first.
Romania first.
Okay, so I went to school and everything else, a
Right.
normal childhood. And then in 1961, after 12 years, we finally got the visa to go to Israel. My father applied to go in 1949. I served in the military in 1968. I decided, without money, without the language, to come to the United States. I settled in Milwaukee because I had a second cousin, very wealthy, that promised my father that will help me adjust to the American culture and finding a job. He was very wealthy. But you and your audience obviously have heard the expression, promises made, not kept.
Okay.
So I had to struggle, and I did not want to go back feeling like a failure.
Back to
Israel. So 5 years later, when I felt that I can make it, I decided to go back.
You were in the Israeli Air Force the first time you were in Israel? When were you in the Air Force there?
Pardon me?
When were you in the Air Force in Israel?
From 1962, 65. Okay, so what happened is, 5 years later, I decided, okay, to go back to Israel. That's when I met my ex, had my son, okay, got divorced, went back to Israel, and, my mother was a very sensitive woman, and she noticed that I'm more American than Israeli, because in Israel I lived for 7 years. Here I lived for 15 years. Okay, so she said, if you ever want to go back, and I had no intention of coming back. She said, if you ever want to go back, you have my blessing. And I said, Mother, don't joke, because one day I'll come and I'll tell you I'm leaving. And she said, fine. And that's what happened. So in 1988, I did not want to go back to Milwaukee. I did not want to disturb my son's, life. And New York was a transitional city. But again, I came at the height of the inflation. I did not have enough money. I had to find a job. And I lived in a borough park and very expensive. And one thing led to the other. And New York has become my last home.
I'm a Brooklyn boy and spent some time in Jersey and now back on Long Island. So you tell a story about when you sought compensation from the Claims Conference Compensation Program.
Yes.
You want to share that story?
Yes. What happened is my father did not want blood money, which means to receive compensation for the people that were murdered. But he wanted to be, it's called Wiedergutmachung, but what he wanted to be accepted as a German subject. So which means that everything that he worked all the years will be recognized and he will get a pension. Okay. But we never lived in Germany.
Right.
Okay. So interesting to be accepted as a German subject because, he was given an extremely difficult test about German culture. And this is arts, poetry, literature, whatever you can think of, history. And my father said that it was about an hour and a half, the test. He passed it. So he got a lump sum. And after that, he got a monthly payment, he and my mother.
But your story is a little different, right?
Yes. And I was young. So I felt that, I don't want their money. So finally, I think in 91, there was a situation that I decided that I would like to see if I'm eligible for compensation. But the two Germanys reunited, and they did not take any more new applications.
Okay.
So when I went to the German consulate, they told them, we don't take new applications. But when she looked at my income at that time, it said, you are eligible to get, which is called Article 2, some money. So
compensation for being a survivor or going through? Okay.
Yes. So basically what happened is I applied for it. There is the claims conference here, and so I'm getting right now with the inflation and everything else, I'm getting every 3 months I'm getting $2,000.
Does that payment, does that acknowledge to you? You don't need the acknowledgement, right?
No, it is, because the fact that I'm getting, because you will see it on my PowerPoint.
Okay.
Okay, you cannot download the PowerPoint from the cell phone. The file is too big. I don't know how to compress it. But if you go to the website,
Sami Speaks, right?
SamiSpeaks.com, there is on the home page,
Right.
there is a very big orange P letter. If you click on it, you will have the power. In the PowerPoint, you will see that I applied, and nobody will pay you a single cent unless you have solid proof. And I had no proof. My father told me, that's hearsay. That's not proof. I have no documents. I was homeless. I had no documents. And by the time I applied in 2002, everyone was gone, including my parents. Okay. However, okay, the Nazis kept absolutely wonderful records. It is the most recorded crime in human history.
That's ironic, right?
They destroyed a lot of the records, but based on those records, not on my say-so, okay, I became eligible for.
Well, you were the proof that it happened, and your
No.
your testimony.
No, but the testimony came later. But what I'm trying to tell you, that they will not, even in the United States, you can make a claim. If you don't have solid proof, you will not get a single
Gotcha.
cent. And the Germans, if they could get away with it, did not want to pay. Because it caused,
Right.
it's a financial burden. But anyway, I was approved based on their records, not on what I wrote.
So I saw that you have, I don't know if it's a mission or a term you live by, right? It's the word, what truth is in Hebrew, right? That word is?
Bashert. Meant to be.
Bashert is fate, right? That was the
Yes,
meaning.
meant
but
to be.
it's how do you pronounce it? E-M-E-T?
The what?
The truth in Hebrew.
Emet.
Emet.
Okay.
But you
So
have an acronym.
It's an acronym of a Hebrew word,
Right.
emet, which
Emet.
means truth. And this is to educate the next generation. Very important for me. Number two, to motivate them to be the best they can be. To empower them to become upsenders. It's like I said before, knowledge without action and without the media does not mean a lot. And number two, when I talk about tolerance, is not accepting somebody's misbehavior, it's accepting somebody's opinion and somebody's culture. And my motto in life is, I am not what happened to me. That does not identify. I am what I choose to be. Within my means, I live under the poverty line. And within my means, I choose to be a happy person.
Well, I consider you a rich man, not monetarily, but you're
Very
a rich
rich.
man in your experience and your mission and what you share to educate. So let's talk about this podcast is going to be released on October 7th. It's the anniversary of the invasion of Hamas into Israel. And I think it's telling and related to your story. And I know you wanted to talk about it and what's happening in the world. Do you want to elaborate
Yes.
on that?
Okay. First of all, what happened in October 7, I was completely shocked. I predicted for a very long time that we will be attacked. What really shocked me was their brutality. A lot of people are trying to compare what happened October 7 with the Holocaust, and I said, please don't. Even the Nazis were not that brutal. If you really want to compare, you have the need to make a comparison. Compare it to the brutality of ISIS. Okay. But at the same time, as a Holocaust survivor, I never thought that I will see the day, what I'm seeing today, not only in the United States, but worldwide. And
You're talking about anti-Semitism.
yes. And the hatred and the incitement, to kill Jews worldwide, global intifada. So, interestingly enough, for me, okay, seeing the young people demonstrating, not knowing what they're demonstrating for.
Right.
Okay? And normally when I say instead to demonstrate against, you should demonstrate for something. Okay? To make a long story short, okay, I see them as, how shall I say, when they will graduate the college, they will become educated idiots. And for Iran, they are useful idiots. But there is another thing that I want to talk about.
Sure.
And, okay, next year, in the beginning of the year, we will celebrate Passover. And there is a passage there that in every generation, they try to annihilate. Many civilizations have disappeared. The Jew hatred is 4,000 years old. We prevailed. And what's happening in Israel, we will prevail. We will win. Into the world, I have a very strong message.
Tell your message.
And to the world, I have a very strong message. We are here to stay, whether you like it or not. Am Yisrael Chai.
Well, that's an important message that you want to share and how strong you believe. So just to go back a second, so your hope by educating younger people, right, before they get indoctrinated.
Well, a lot of them are already indoctrinated by the time they go to... they started BDS. They started with campuses. They succeeded. They went to high school. They succeeded. Now they're working at middle school, and they're succeeding there too. So by the time they go to college, they are already indoctrinated.
So what do you think it's education?
There is no education in this country. There is indoctrination. They don't talk about the Holocaust. They don't talk about the genocide. They don't. Okay, there are a lot of things they don't do. And it's not, how shall I say, they don't have a standard curriculum.
Do you think the level of anti-Semitism in the world now is greater than it's been? Are you more concerned than other past events, what's going on now?
I've always been an optimist.
Okay.
And as an optimist, okay, unlike a lot of other people, I believe in the young people. All the changes have been accomplished by the young people. And things will get worse, but eventually they will get better. I'll give you an example to understand what I'm saying. Take a look at the program that was called DEI.
Mm-hmm.
Even when it was unpopular, I was against it because I don't believe in equality. There is no such thing. The most equal society in the world, communism in the former Soviet Union, there is always an elite group of people.
Okay.
Okay, but I believe in equal opportunity. And I said, okay, in time, things will get so bad that eventually, okay, they will get away from it. And take a look at major organizations, they started to get away. Military started to get away. And then came Trump, and he is against it and he gets rid of it. So the same thing like here. Things will get worse. There is no question about it. But eventually, they will get better. There were many examples in history that things were extremely critical, and yet the world turned to the middle. The one thing is all the tragedies in the world started with words and bullying.
Go ahead. Talk into the camera. I know you're talking
to the camera. All the tragedies in the world started with words and bullying. And right now, there is too much in this world. And for instance, in the social media, there is incitement to hurt other people, either for political reasons, because Jews, Israel, Zionism, whatever the reason is. And take a look, the best example what happened, okay, what is today? Thursday, yeah, 2 days ago. Take a look what happened today with Charles Kirk.
It was yesterday.
Okay, so this is okay. This is somebody, you know, they use it mentally. Okay, ill. Give me a break. There are some people that, okay, become fanatic, and based on the incitement, the words that he heard, he decided that the right thing to do is to kill a person, regardless of the political aspect. I mean, nobody deserves to be, okay, murdered. You have here a political system that in 4 years you don't like somebody, get rid of them, vote somebody out. But murdering somebody, and this is only because of the indoctrinations and because of the social media does not take a stand. Okay, if you take a look at it, even the newspaper did not talk a lot about the assassination of Charlie Kirk. So they're ignoring it in a certain way.
Yeah. Well, what I know about him...
Because he was right wing. Who cares? He's still a human being.
And he believed in healthy debate. He welcomed the debate.
He believed in liberty, yes.
But I want to thank you for being here today. I admire the fact that the way you handle debate by trying to diffuse the situation and educate. It's a terrific way about trying to express your views. And I think you're a courageous man for your mission. No, you are.
Well, I don't think myself at that one. I just, I'm not afraid to say what I
Well, that's
feel like.
good. That's good, because what you went through as a child is horrendous. Your life story is very interesting, and I think your mission is you're very passionate about it, and you very believe in it, and I think that will resonate that people to hear. So we're just gonna, before we leave the podcast, tell everybody out there how they can get in touch with you, and if they want a speaker or.
Okay, I do not prejudge. I will talk to anybody. Okay, I even spoke at the Church of Scientology. Okay, so if you are interested in having me speak, okay, please send me an email, samispeaks.com, and I will send you all the information with my telephone number, my address, everything that you want, okay, and I will be very honored to speak. So I will speak to churches, synagogues, Chabad, schools, military.
Wherever you can share your message, right?
Whatever.
And for people that are computer savvy, download Sami's PowerPoint, and you'll see a lot of information.
Right. But
there.
that is from the website.
From the website.
Samispeaks.com. My email is sami1939 So if you want to contact me directly, okay, use my email, and or you can also, I will give you my telephone number. You can also
we'll put that on
right.
You have that on the website.
Right.
So I just want to finish by saying that I think Sami Speaks is very appropriate, because you do speak, you do show your voice, you're a powerful speaker, and that's an appropriate name for your website.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here today, Sami.
Thank you.
I'm honored.
And by the way, one of the things that people will not know, you look at me, you will never know that every single second of my life, I am, and will be in pain. But you will not see it on my face. Okay, I have a very high pain tolerance, And, okay, I don't like to show it, to complain about it, okay, and I deal with it. So all of you, I wish every one of you, okay, it's coming New Year's right now, and I wish all of you a happy, healthy New Year and a prosperous one. And do me a favor. The past is gone. There is nothing you can do about it. Thinking about it is useless. Learn from it. The future has not come, so enjoy every minute of the life that has been given to you.
So
God bless.
I want to thank you again. And what I want to say is, despite your pain or your pain tolerance, you share a very important message. Thanks again, Sami.
And thank you for inviting me.
My pleasure. Thank you for listening or watching this episode. If you enjoyed our guest, please go to our website, awakeningsinreallife.com, where our guest shares a story different than their awakening. It's really very interesting. We also have bonus episodes where another individual tells their awakening story. Please also check out my book, Awakenings in Real Life, where I tell the story of my dad's awakening from his dementia and the message he sends that he still lives and appreciates life. It's available on Amazon pre-sale and also tells other family stories. If you know of someone who wants to be a guest on the show and has an awakening, please email me at info@awakeningsinreallife.com. We're also available on social media. Please tune in to our next episode where we share another remarkable awakening story. Finally, I want to thank Jay Belsky of Flawed Media of Rockville Center, New York, who did such a great job recording this episode.